Gear Tip of the Week is brought to you by Drayson Edwards Music Center, 2902 North Main Street in Anderson, South Carolina. Visit DraysonEdwardsMusic.com. All right, folks, welcome to Gear Tip of the Week. I'm Dustin Owens, and joining me here is Wes Edwards Jr. from Drayson Edwards Music Center. And what we're going to do here is we're going to talk a little bit about this guitar in my hand right now. Wes, why don't you say hey to the folks and tell them what it is that we're playing with today.
Yeah, so Gear Tip of the Week, to kick things off, we're going with a classic airline guitar, which was very unique. Obviously, you can see it's got enough knobs for just about any gear tweaker.
That's
out
exactly
there.
right. And it might be kind of difficult to see, but it's beautifully made. The little bevel, I guess, on the edge, around the edges there in the white, and it reminds you a little bit of maybe a classic car.
It is, yeah. It's got a carved top and a lot of chrome, and this particular one is in an Olympic white color. And it's got the offset rosewood with block inlays, which is cool. But Dustin, you led me right into the 1950s and 60s when they were making cars with the big fins and chrome, bumpers and whatnot. So engineers were making those kind of cars. Companies started coming out with crazy guitars like that. Fender had a couple, but this was made by a company called Falco. And they made a ton of products.
Does this company still exist today?
No, Falco went out of business, and then the name was bought in the 2000s because a lot of the retro stuff was coming back.
Yeah.
This design was bought by a company called Eastwood Guitars. But back then, the guitar came out and was distributed through Sears stores for Falco. So basically, this was like their Cadillac model called the Airline. And people played them like David Bowie, and I guess the resurgence came around. A lot of people are always looking for vintage instruments, and Jack White came out, and his main guitar is a red Airline, same model as this.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned that people were going for that retro thing in 2000. Well, that was about the time the White Stripes were hitting with their retro sound, and garage rock was real big. So no coincidence there that the two of those line up.
Yeah, and with this kind of guitar, it sets itself apart. They still don't make a lot of them. This is the first one I've ever had. I mean, I don't even know if you can order them new. I think you can, but I know they're sparse. But you and I had a good time just messing around with these
I think I've discovered
controls
what the knobs do. Of course, you've got your switcher here that will either let you pick one particular pickup or blend between two of the pickups, and then each knob or each pair of knobs goes to a particular pickup. So you've got a separate volume control and a separate tone control for each pickup. So I can't do the math, but a lot of different blending options that you have, and of course an overall volume knob.
That's cool that you got a master volume, because a lot of the weird vintagey stuff, you got all these controls, but you don't have one where you can control.
That's exactly. So the tone that you want is too quiet to get the sound that you need, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I mean, it's not just for looks. I mean, there's a very distinct purpose for it. And of course, I love this tremolo bar, I believe you called it.
Yeah,
interesting.
And to give people out there an idea of values, like the original ones that they were made from 58 to 68, they sell anywhere from like 1,200 to 3,000.
Yeah.
This is a reissue made about 10 years ago, and it sells for 800. So let's hear this sucker before.
Okay, why don't you pick me a little rhythm and I'll play some lead. Drayson Edwards Music Center, and of course you'll see a lot more about that. But Wes, I want to thank you so much for being here again with me this week, and we look forward to doing it again next go around when maybe we talk a little bit about that guitar you've got. Folks, be sure to come by and see him at Drayson Edwards Music, and tune in next week for more Gear Tip of the Week. Be sure to tune in next week for another edition of Gear Tip of the Week, brought to you by Drayson Edwards Music Center, 2902 North Main Street in Anderson, South Carolina. Visit DraysonEdwardsMusic.com.